Hello and welcome to the Short, the Fat and the Ugly podcast, where we pit two movies against each other and our celebrity guest judge decides which one is the best. To assist me in this dive into celluloid stories is my friend in film, but also my video nemesis when it comes to this podcast. He is the Resident Evil to my Super Mario Brothers. It's the man, the myth, the legend, John the Don. Hello, John.
Hi, Piers. How's it going?
Yeah, it's all right. Right, so today's theme for the podcast is video game movies, a high benchmark of quality. I'm sure you'll agree. So I guess you play quite a lot of video games, do you, John?
Not anymore these days. Warzone, obviously, it's like what everyone seems to be playing. But yeah, back in the day, started with the NES, Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, Donkey Kong, all that. Loved it.
So the last game you played was Warzone?
Warzone, yep.
So I was going to say, if you were stuck in the last game you played, how screwed are you?
I fancy my chances in Warzone. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I just hide.
Within seconds.
I just camp at the top of a stairwell, and cap someone coming up.
I'm just the unluckiest gamer. If I did that, I know exactly what would happen. Sniper to the back of the head within seconds. I used to play a lot of Halo, and I was an absolute gift to my team because I would just charge in headless, like randomly, absolutely annihilated every single time. My team used to complain about it until they realised that the moment I'd run in, get absolutely massacred, everyone on the other team would come running in and be like, "Hey, we killed that guy." Teabagging, off they go, and my team would just be like, "Pop, pop, pop." There we go, done. It's like I think I should have had more credit, frankly. It's Absolutely. Like playing 4D chess at Halo. Right, well, it's time to introduce our special guest judge. He is a legend in his own home, a man so famous he needs an introduction. He is the patriarch of podcasts, King Kirby.
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm good, thank you.
You play a lot of video games, do you?
Yeah, so recently I got a PlayStation 5 and I do a lot of two-player with my little boy. So we've been playing Sackboy recently. So if I was stuck in that universe, like especially if I was with him, I'd be screwed because all he does is just pick me up and throw me off the edge. So that's literally it.
And my little girl is quite vindictive at that as well. She does it on
just
Mario
love it
as well.
It's like a form of vengeance. Little intruder there.
Hey, special guest judge number 2, John's cat.
What good cat films are there, actually?
Cat films?
Yeah. Because you can name a lot of dog films, but...
Aristocrat cats. God,
yeah.
I remember seeing that in the cinema when I was about 9, I think.
I hate Disney. I used to hate Disney so much. Well, I don't know. It just
the happy endings.
Yeah, partly. Yeah. It's just not true to life, Kirby. It's not true to life. Come on.
It hasn't ended yet. We'll get our happy ending, mate.
Also, as later on in the pod today, I know we'll be talking about feminism, right? Because for my film, and so I always had a problem with the fact that all their problems were solved when they met a man. And to the point where when I had 3 kids, all my children are girls. I just didn't want them watching Disney films because I just thought it was a really bad example.
You're sounding like this is Keira Knightley's high horse, isn't it? And that's exactly why she doesn't let her kids watch Disney.
I didn't allow my kids for ages, but you know what? Yeah. You can't win against Disney. You can't do it. You can't. They will always find you and they will fight. Like, I'm pretty sure they used to send people to secretly like come in my house when we were all asleep and just leave Disney memorabilia around the house. There'd be like a DVD here, or like a small toy there.
Like Finding Nemo teddy somewhere.
There'd be like a suspicious extra present from their grandma, and it was like a Disney doll, and I'd be like,
"That's Pixar, actually."
Did grandma actually send that doll, or did Disney they just know how to get into my house?
Pixar is Disney now, isn't it?
Now
it's been brought out. And
almost.
Yeah. So, what's your favourite Disney film then?
What do we count Pixar?
Yeah, that's just
And Star.
I
and
don't know.
Star
That's a
Wars
hard
now.
one, really. Yeah, but you've got to pick one.
You've got Marvel as well now, haven't you? You've got everything. Well, Disney own everything.
Yeah.
Simpsons called that, by the way, in like the late 90s.
They own Simpsons.
Oh, of course, they own 20th Century Fox now, don't they?
Fox, yeah.
So one film, that's all you're allowed.
So out of all films that were ever made, what's your favourite film? That's essentially what you've just asked.
No. Disney films.
Yeah. But like now that we've ascertained that Disney own the world, whether we know about it or not.
Backtrack. So let's have just Disney films before they brought out Everyone and Anyone.
Do you mean like animated?
Yeah, go on then. Let's have like the classics. I know mine straight away.
Well, you got to have some Beauty and the Beast, haven't you? Beauty and the Beast. It's got to be.
What's your game, son?
It's got to be done.
It's the animated Robin Hood.
Yes, thank you.
That's a good shout.
That is amazing. That snake is amazing. I love Sir Hiss. He is like the best character. This guy just, when he's sleeping, he's doing that little whistly thing in his ear. That's what my boy used to do and all that. Like, when I showed him, that was his favourite. But it's Robin Hood every time.
Yeah,
shocking.
Love it.
What about Winnie the Pooh? Oh, hang on. I live in China. I'm not allowed to mention Winnie the Pooh. Right, moving on. And it's time for pitch number one. Right, well, you know the rules of the podcast. John and I try to sell you on why our movie is the best. And then Kirby will choose a winner. I won last week, which means John is going first. John, what movie have you picked?
Silent Hill.
Yeah, so the film starts anyway. Wait for the recap. So it starts with a lady screaming. She's running through like some fields. She's screaming, "Oh God!" But it starts badly because she's wearing a bra. That's the first thing you check on these horror films. Yeah, and you're like, so it's slightly like
of the podcast, isn't it?
It's noticeable in these, especially Dead or Alive. I love the cat in the background. The Dead or Alive thing. That's a very like. Anyway. So she's running through the field screaming and shouting like, "Oh no, what's going on here?" But then it like goes quite dark because you see like a kid standing on the edge of the mountaintop or hilltop, whatever it is. You think, Jesus, that kid, is he going to fall in, or what's happening there? That's where it gets quite serious for me, because I hate seeing like animals or kids sort of in peril. That's the one thing in horrors that I can't it's hard to watch, But then it's quite obvious that she's sort of sleepwalking and she's talking. She's like Silent Hill, and her mum's found her, then sort of, cuddles her and things. And then it cuts to the next day. I believe it's the next day. Anyway, they're in a field, and it's the mum and daughter again. And it looks all like warm and safe and nice. They're cuddling. It's it's a nice scene, So it does that sort of the hot and cold thing where you're like in peril, then you're safe again, like. And she's like, you keep mentioning about this place called Silent Hill, so we're gonna go there. And first of all, I'm thinking, you're good, so you're not gonna go first, you're gonna go with the kid. Like, this is quite a, as a parent, you're thinking, no, you surely would go and sort of inspect the place a little bit more, not just go, yeah, I've found the location, let's go. So anyway, they're in the field, they're cuddling, so it's safe. And then like the bread and butter of horror movies comes, and it just suddenly cuts to a scene where it's like a truck, but they've obviously whacked the volume up, so you jump like 10 seconds of like just like, oh Jesus Christ, and it's a truck, and that's, I don't know whether that's because as you've said before, Piers, about how when people used to date, where they'd always find the set menu where the lady would go into the arms of the man, and the man's like, yeah, I've got this, I'll keep you safe, sort of thing. And then, so there's the first jump. That was quite a quick one, because normally they wait a little bit of time, but this was just like bang, there's your first jump, a truck going past. And then like 5-10 seconds later, it cuts to my next jump, and I'm like, what the hell? And the next scene is that Sean Bean. Like, how did I not know Sean Bean was in this? And then it gets even more tricky, because he's doing an American accent.
It's okay, sweetie. We're here now.
And like, there's like, I don't think they should have. Yeah, but like,
That changes.
I think they should
film. I think
they should have casted someone American for that role. I think because that detached quite a bit from me. Where I'm just listening to this accent, like, oh no, no sir, no sharp, don't do it, sort of thing, you know. And then he's on the phone. So when they were in the field previously, you saw the phone ringing, and it was the dad, and she doesn't sort of pick up, and then he's ringing again, and then it becomes apparent that it's another abduction film I've been given. I'm like, well, we just had King Kong. That was an abduction film. Now we've got Silent Hill. It's another abduction film. I'm like, really, guys? 2 in a row? And
is Silent Hill an abduction film?
You abduct your own daughter.
Yeah, because you're doing it away from the father, who clearly disapproves of it, because it then shows him like Googling the sort of what Silent Hill is, you know, the story behind the coal mine and all the rest of it. And, you know, so he's obviously against it, but the mum's gone, no, I'm going to do it anyway. Then they're driving off because they go to the petrol station, and then like they go away from there. And it cuts to a scene of this policeman with the motorbike, and then they're driving off, and then you get the flashing lights, and it's the policeman from Terminator 2 by the looks of it. And they're getting pulled over. She sort of slows a bit, and then she bolts it. So straight away you're like, whoa, this really is an abduction film, because the dad's clearly phoned up to report a missing child, and then the police have sort of seen the child, and then like they go to pull her over, and then that's where that happens. And then she goes, for some reason she's like a few minutes away from the Silent Hill turn off, and she crashes through the gate. Where do we go from that? She looks down, because there's a few troubles with the radio, so she has to sort the radio out for some reason when she's driving at high speed. And then she's looking down at the radio. Another horror film classic, actually, is looking down at the radio while you're driving at high speed, I like to think. So she's sorting the radio out. She looks up, and there's someone in the road. Oh, Jesus Christ. She swerves. Over she goes. Classic bit of driving there. Flips the car. It's crashed. The mum bangs her head on the steering wheel. I'm like, this is horrible, you know, like, yeah, but I don't know whether it was back then or whatever. At least she was wearing a seatbelt, but yeah, it's just horrible. And you're like, this is what we're doing for entertainment. We're watching this sort of thing, you know. And then she wakes up. It's like ash everywhere, you know, like the falling. So it's almost as if that's where she's sort of gone over to the Silent Hill, basically. And the doors open, and the kid's missing. And yeah, so she goes off looking for the kid, and then it comes to another horror film classic, because you really notice the repetition on what horror films do, as you say. Like, so now it's the one. Actually, see if you can guess where this one is. What is it? What's the next classic that they do? Don't all answer at once.
Well, hang on, where are we? So she's got to Silent Hill, and she's had the crash, right?
Yeah, she gets out,
and then the kid goes in the car missing.
Anymore. Yeah. So I'll fill you in with that one. So the next horror film classic. There's no clues. No clues, John. Stop cheating.
Oh, this point, I suppose.
Yeah, so it goes to the point where the kids run off somewhere. The mum goes to find the kid, and then the horror film classic of the kid is just out of reach, which is the one that I was going for, where the kid's just going around the corner, and it's always just running off. You can't quite get to it, you know, and you're shouting out, and like, so it's clearly not the daughter, because the daughter would be running towards, presumably. And yeah, so then it's obviously getting lured down into this like little area. Let's see, where are we? Nice cuddling. Sean Bean, that got a mention for sure. Driving, running. Let's see.
Is it the first time you descend into the third level when you go down? She goes down those steps, doesn't it?
Into presumably, yeah, the start of the coal mine lark.
Now, John, what do you mean by third level?
This film has 3 levels. You've got the material, like the actual real world. You've got the Silent Hill world, which is where she's just gone over, and it's all that sort of dusty grey world. And then you've got when the sirens come, and it descends into the third sort of hell world, where everything goes decayed and everything. there's 3 levels to this world. I don't know if you get that, Matt.
I didn't get that, to be honest. I don't know if you would have predicted I didn't get it, but
you saw the world changing, right? You saw like,
how
when the sirens go, everything went from being grey to like brown, rusty, bloody kind of colour.
Yeah, so that is the big sort of the sirens go off, and then she goes down, and then there's like the bit where you see the demons. They're pretty cool. I like those ones because they're not your classic shape. You know, they sort of morph into all these little weird shapes and things like that. And then they've got her like surrounded. They got her pinned down, and it's like, she's gone. See you later. Nice knowing her. It's going to go to the kid next. You know, that's her done. And then the mother sort of wakes up from that bit.
But did you like the coal miner attached like barbed wire to the fence?
Yeah.
There's a guy with the gas mask and the eyes. You can see it's not just a dead body. That was pretty freaky.
Yeah, that's good. There are lots of cool little bits. It's a good film. So then she wakes up from being pinned down from the demons, and she goes for like a run, and then she bumps into the policeman, and then the policeman's trying to arrest her, or policewoman, sorry. And it's like, don't try and arrest the woman, Jesus Christ, like, look where you are, sort of thing. The policewoman obviously hasn't sort of, you know, she's just trying to sort of, you know, almost as if the dad calling on the missing child has now screwed over his daughter's chances, if you know what I mean. And so then they arrest her, and then it becomes clear that they then have to work together as a team, because it's obvious that this isn't like a normal situation, you know.
How does that become clear?
Because obviously once they see these,
because she cuffs her, doesn't she?
She does keep her cuffed after she then shoots that demon, doesn't she?
Well, they try to walk back to the town they came from, don't they?
Yeah.
And you see the road just ends. There's like it's fallen away, so that would raise a few suspicions.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. So let's have my little Silent Hill summary I've written out. I need some pointers on it. Is that I gave it a bonus. It's got strong female lead characters, which I'm not sure, little spoiler on Dead or Alive, has that. Yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about there.
There's some really good creepy moments. Like there's this group of the demon things, and she has to walk through them, you know, and it becomes apparent that they're sort of, when they're like, you know, noise activated or the sensory things, so she has to do it quietly, and you're like, you put yourself in that position of like, oh, that would be horrible, you know, like the whole film would be horrible, but that bit, you're like, wow.
I have a question about those nurses, right? What triggers them? Is it sound or light?
You asking me or Matt? What do you think, Matt?
I'm asking anyone, because
I
played Silent Hill when it first came out. Yeah, you cameo. You're not getting any residuals. Don't even try it. I played Silent Hill when it first came out. I played a couple of them. I played The Room as well, I think. But and I remember the nurses, but I don't remember what triggers them in the game. So,
it seems to be light. I mean, they tell her when she goes down, they're like attracted to the light. Well, somebody tells her, I can't remember who it is. But they start attacking
when she's not got the light on, which is a little bit inconsistent.
It must be noise as well. So mainly light, but a little bit of noise. That's what we think.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, it's like Matt said, it's that suspense of trying to creep through. It just adds good suspense. I thought that bit.
Yeah, it does. It is a good film generally. Like, I would see it again for sure. There are some questions I've got for it. So you expect the happy ending, and obviously she goes back to the same location that he's at, and then it's like, are they forever in different dimensions now? Like, how does it end, basically?
Well, do you know what the sort of why there are the two girls? What the overall who the baddie is? Do you understand sort of?
No, so I got the thing from that, you know, like the cult leader sort of thing, and that you know, the kid and all the rest of it. But with Dead or Alive, I've played that game, but Silent Hill, I've never sort of played the game, so it was like, it's just film for me, if you know what I mean.
Learn about you and your obsession with bras. I can believe that.
More bras.
Or less.
Yeah, another good depending.
Well, John, do you want to tell us your 3 reasons why this film is your choice?
Yeah, no, that's cool.
We'll see if that answers Kirby's questions, and then we can.
I also want to know how it ended.
Yeah. No, it's different. It's interesting, this one for me, because I compared to other video game adaptations, I'd never played this game. So I'm taking it as a horror film with video game elements included in it, as sort of little nods to the fans, as what So I like the little video game elements, like she gets left clues, like the kids' drawings. So one is school, so she knows she's got to go to the school, but she's never been to this town before. How did she get there? So you've got the little bus route map, which is very much like a video game. It's like all the little stops, and you can see she starts running from stop to work out how to get that. That's very much like that. Picking up all the little things that'll help her. So the mobile phone, she picks up. At one point, there's a key in the janitor's mouth in the toilet. So that you've got the clues, bits and pieces like that. Finds his torch, knife. She jumps over a little gap. She drops the knife. Again, that's like video games where you can lose objects as well as pick them up. So I quite like that, but it wasn't too much in your face, but it was enough of a tick in the box. It did it more than a film like Resident Evil, where you had the one moment where she opens a drawer and there's a gun in a lockbox locker with a little key code.
Easy
that was
for
like
you to say.
Easy for me to say. Cut that bit.
Never.
So
staying in.
it did it, but it didn't do it over the top. But I just like that little aspect of it. So it wasn't just trying to be a horror game. It was. We are an adaptation. Music, I love the music for it. It had a lot of the original music from the game, and I know a lot of fans like that. So all the piano, soft piano music, it was really nice. Gave it a nice bit of ambience, I thought. I think there was at least 6 or 7 tracks of a 11 or 12 track score that had that, so I liked it. And it had one of the best bad guy deaths, I thought. When you really hate this character, Alice Krige, who plays Christabel, she plays the Borg Queen from Star Trek First Contact. I hate her. She is a real loathsome character, but she's a good actress, obviously, I thought. And she dies in quite a spectacular way. I liked her death, with all the barbed wire going in basically every orifice it could find, and just absolutely spurting it apart. So I thought that was a really good death. So I like that. Someone get their comeuppance. Those are my 3 points, really.
So John,
a fourth point was Sean Bean survives. Wow, he's made it through a film.
Actually, that is a real rarity. I'm going to give you a 1 point bonus for that.
But that's not what he's famous for. When you see Sean Bean, you want him to be the bad guy or die, preferably both. What's going on, Sean? You're not giving your fans what they want.
So, John, this is for a plus or a minus score. You're either getting 2 deducted or 2 added.
Oh, Jesus.
How did it end?
Explain to me the film.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear this as well. You explain the point of the ending as much as anything else.
Well, at the end, you do realise that the little girl that was in all the flashbacks, Alessa, she was attacked by the janitor, and then they burnt her because of it. And she survived it, a burnt condition, and her sort of spirit split into the evil little Alessa and Sharon, who they took to the orphanage. So there's sort of 2 parts, the good and the evil of the burnt victim are these 2 little girls. And right at the end, when she saves her, she opens her eyes, and there's the evil Alessa there, and they sort of bond together. And the mum, tries to go back, but she never leaves the shadow world, so she can never go back. Essentially, once you get into that shadow world, that's what it seems to me. Because all the townspeople are dead. They are all dead. They're spirits, and they've not accepted that fact, and they didn't accept the culpability of their actions. Burnt this little girl, and when she finally makes them do that, that's when the spirit gets into the church, and they become vulnerable.
I think we have a plus 2 points for John.
Well,
I want to give you a minus, but I don't know.
Piers. Try and tear that apart.
So you've got the real world, yeah. Essentially, then you've got limbo and you've got hell, right? So at the end of the film, it's heavily implied without being 100% clear that the like demon evil part of it goes back into Sharon and then is what now in control, I presume. The good part of it doesn't get any say in that because now she's like slightly mysterious little girl and they go back to her house, but everything's still ash soaked. So they're still obviously in limbo. So what's the point? What's the demon's like goal?
Well, she doesn't want to let that mother figure apart because mother is God, as they mention a few times. So she's obviously lynched onto this mother character, and that's it. She's not
that's true. But then why doesn't she let her go? Or did she die in that car crash?
She could have died. That's another thing. She could have died in that car crash, and it was all her spirit then moving forward.
See, I don't mind ambiguous endings when it's done for a reason. So like the ending of Inception, for example, is he in a dream world? Isn't he? That's not the point. It doesn't matter. The whole kind of myth of the ending explained, 99% of the time those videos on YouTube are garbage because that's not the point of the film. So here though, they're stuck in limbo. To what end? I mean, is that just how it's going to be forever, or are they going to try and bring other people? Is the demon going to try and do other things? It
leaves it open for another, number 2.
That's sequel. That's my problem with it.
And that's not the end. That's not the end of the world. You've got you create franchises, don't you?
Yeah, but it's sequel bait. How did that work out? How many did they do? Many sequels after this?
1. Yeah, they did 1.
Is that a true sequel, or is it?
There might be another one. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 Revelations.
Yeah, but is it more of a reboot?
It's got Jon Snow in it, so you'll love it, Matt.
But he knows nothing.
Yeah, you got
I know how he feels. So I'm sorry, Piers. Sequel baiting is not going to deduct him for a point. I've got my final score on Silent Hill, so I am done for that.
Shocking. Right. I tell you what, though, my big issue with Silent Hill is that you've got a film that, you talk about the jump scare with the truck, right?
Yeah.
But apart from that, there aren't really many jump scares. I don't think that there's very few.
I think that's good though, isn't it? Because
that's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But then what are you doing? Well, you're building a horror film that's working on tension and atmosphere, because atmosphere is clearly important for any film that you're going to try and build tension with. The problem is that the green screen is so obvious. It's so obvious. And it's I
like it because at one point, especially when they're in the fan, they're trying to get away from it, and there's all the fans. She's walking along that bit. It actually looks a little bit like a computer game. And that's
but I'm not playing a computer game. I'm watching a film, so I want to watch a film.
But this is an adaptation, though, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. But like all adaptations, you have to actually change it to make it work within a different medium. Because running around a scary town trying to solve clues to find the solution to the whole story is actually quite fun. Watching someone else do it is kind of dull unless there is the tension. And like you said, bad effects don't necessarily kill it. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable, actually. But all of these things start to add up. And when you've got a unclear story, you've got that main thing between the little girl being burnt and the cult. Fine, okay, that's clear. But there's lots and lots of little pieces that aren't finished off, right? You've got that. You've then got the green screen that is very, very obvious, and so then immediately you've got all of these demons and things that. If that was the only thing, that would be fine. But when you couple it with the other stuff and the other thing that I'm about to mention, the threat that they have is actually quite minimal, because then she's got amazing plot armor. She's just got phenomenal plot armor, and it's you're smacked over the head with it. So right at the beginning, she finds those, not right at the beginning, but when she first gets to Silent Hill, she finds those like little kid demons, the little demons that are kind of like open and glowing in the inside.
Well, those are the kids from the school, the flashback that was calling her a witch. That's what they are supposed to be.
They're coming through the door, And oh no, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Oh, they all turned into dust and the world reset. Right. Okay. So you've set up that she has like a set amount of time each time that the world changes into hell. Fine. Okay. Right. But then they do exactly the same again when you've got Pyramid Head, who is visually awesome. That is cool, a wonderful, wonderful thing. But he's carving through the door when she's locked in a dead end with the policewoman. And then the rats all pile through. And the moment that they get to their feet, the timer's run out and they all disappear into nothing and they're fine again. It's like One Punch Man. Have you ever seen One Punch Man? It's this very funny anime, right? Where the main guy can take out any opponent with one punch. And he comes up against these like super mega demons and this like ancient evil from beyond the stars and just all this crazy stuff. And he's just so bored with life and being a superhero because he does this just for fun. And the whole joke is that he's just got plot armor, that no matter what he needs to solve the problem, he's got that one punch. Eventually he'll land the one punch and it will always win. And in that situation, they're making fun of that. But in this film, they're trying to build tension. But we know she's invulnerable. Now, again, not a problem, because at the end of the film, we find out that Alessa Sharon wants her to carry her into the church. Oh, that's great. Why are her hell minions attacking her in the first place then?
Well, the second bit where the Pyramid Head guy is, it's the policewoman. You know, she's an outsider. She's not part of necessarily the story. Maybe he's attacking her,
not her. I don't think that's clear at all.
They're not trying to get both of them.
Yeah, he's trying to get both of them. He does. He swings the sword.
He's pretty useless then, isn't it? If he's trying to get both of them. It's just,
but
it's building tension, like you said.
But it doesn't build any tension. It completely undercuts its tension because the effects.
I think I'm going to deduct a point for that one.
And the last thing I'll say about the effects, this film is crying out for practical effects. It's absolutely crying out for like a 1980s thing kind of practical effects. Just how gross would that have been if they'd got like a contortionist to do, the guy on the toilet with the barbed wire.
Yeah.
When he comes out and his legs are tied behind him like in a scorpion bondage thing. Imagine if they'd got a real guy doing that rather than the CGI. And all of the fun, the guy who's like got his arms like trapped under his skin, who like vomits the black stuff at her.
The first one,
he'd be really cool as well. All the way through it.
I think with the graphics, I mean, I don't know what their budget was, but it probably wasn't amazing because there's not been a great run of video game adaptations at that point. So there was probably only a certain amount of belief that this would do well. So it probably didn't have a huge budget.
No,
and that reflected in the graphics, but it was good enough, I think, and people forgave it because it is from a video game, and
you say relatable. Forgave it, but it didn't do wonderfully well.
It's not bad on IMDb for a video game movie. It's one of the better ones for sure. And the bit where he rips the skin off that girl is it's nasty. That is nasty. I don't care if it doesn't look amazing, but it does purvey.
There are nasty visuals in there. Don't get me wrong, but like you've just got for me, it's a very cool idea, and it's a very with a little bit of tweaking, the story could be slightly more interesting and would be very cool. But I think part of the reason as well is that by that point, anyone that liked video games, that liked films and wanted a video game film, I think it just had a lot of goodwill. People were really rooting for like a video game film that did well by that point. And I feel that they forgive Silent Hill. And I'm one of these people as well, because I do quite like it. But I feel like they give it a pass on a lot of stuff that actually you wouldn't give that pass to other films. And part of that is just because there had been so much garbage when it came to movie
I do think it had wider appeal than just the video game audience, which is why it's got a relatively good review on IMDb. So it has attracted the mainstream horror buffs. They've gone, actually, I've never seen this as a computer game, yet I still like it, which is exactly where I'm coming from. I'd never played it. I don't relate to it necessarily, but I can see the computer game tweaks to it, and I thought I thought it was a really good film. Not amazing in the horror aspect, but that's not what we're judging it, are we? This is video game adaptation, and I thought it was
well, for the sake of this podcast as well, it's a direct comparison between that and my film.
Well, yeah.
So obviously you've got no hope, because obviously my film, one of the greatest movies ever made. So
I mean, I'm interested to see what Matt says on Dead or Alive. Hold on a minute. There we go.
There it is.
Hold
Nice.
on a minute.
Boss mode.
I've got the wrong download. I've got cooking here, not martial arts.
Oh, shocking.
There we go.
You didn't have that little grey thing at the front with the laser beam. That's what it was.
Yeah.
One thing that did remind me of my childhood is that you said that it's no fun watching someone else play a computer game. Now, I'm the youngest of two brothers, and that was my childhood, watching someone else play a computer game.
Not through choice.
No, exactly. I had to wait till he went out and then sneaked into his bedroom to boot up the Mega Drive.
So you can't be using nostalgia of your unhappy, broken childhood.
Yeah,
just subjugated and beaten by your elder brothers,
leering over his shoulder.
You like it, yeah.
So I've got my final score on Silent Hill anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Right.
What the fuck is going on? All right, I don't even know where to start. Hey, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
Right, so strong arguments there from John. We'll see how that plays out by the end of the pod. So now it's time for Cinema Sudden Death. You know it. You've played it at home or in the car on long journeys, I'm sure. One of us will pick a topic and the others take it in turns to name things that belong in that category until we either repeat an answer or we just get it wrong, or just plain run out of answers, which, might be fairly quick today. Anyway, it's winner stays on. It's winner stays on, and as I lost last week, that means I choose the category and John and Kirby face off against each other on the topic that I've chosen in a battle to the death, or just until one of you is embarrassed by how badly you did, like I did last week. So the topic this week is name every character, good or bad, that features in the final battle of Avengers Endgame.
That's a
really.
That is a lot of people.
We could be here for a while, but I'm fairly confident that Kirby will drop out and burn within about
no
3
chance,
minutes.
mate. Easy, I've got this.
Did you read a lot of Marvel comics when you were little?
No, I don't need to.
Right. Okay. We're all fine then. Right then. So, it's Kirby to go first.
Could you repeat the question again, please, sir?
No.
No.
10.
Right, I'm going to have a guess.
Right.
So is it
it's
real
every
actors?
character, good or bad, that features in the
Matt.
final battle of Avengers Endgame? Now, I will allow their alias or their real name. But obviously, if you've said one, you can't then say the other.
Right, I'll start. Here we go.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
That's the actor, Kirby.
That's the
not
actor.
Character. So,
Thor,
Kirby's
please.
out then. Thor.
No way.
Right, yes.
Another chance.
Iron Man.
Yes. Kirby.
Samuel Jackson.
Dude, that's the actor. We want the character.
Yeah, but what's his
Right.
name?
Let's start. Well, that's what you've got to know.
That's what you've got to know.
Oh,
Right.
come off it, guys.
Let's start this again, shall we? It's got to be the character, not the actor.
Do you know, I
Right,
thought
Kurt?
Iron Man was a dud answer, because obviously at the end of it, they're sort of burying him, aren't they?
No, but he's
He's
in
in
the
the
final
battle,
battle because he kills himself to save everybody.
You know the big
Yeah,
battle they
yeah.
have, like the face-off, like the
Yeah, now that's it. Right, come on then.
yeah.
I'm
Right,
ready.
are we all right,
Give us a
Kirby?
character. Come on, give us a
Are we
character.
okay? Are you all right, Kirby?
I
Do you,
feel a
do you
little
under-
off.
do you understand what you've got to do
He
now?
doesn't like the pressure. He can't handle the pressure.
Can't handle it.
I
He's
can
got
handle
to
the pressure. Let's
botany.
do this. Come on.
Right, okay. So the topic is every character, good or bad, that features in the final battle of Avengers Endgame. And seeing as he's new to the game, it's Kirby to go first.
Thor.
Yes.
Iron Man.
I nearly said Black Widow. Is that... No, I can see the face. It's not that one. There are so many. How has my brain gone? Like,
It's the pressure.
so many.
Oh,
It's like Tom
is
Cruise.
it? I did. You've done what's now called Piers and Tom Cruise.
I'm thinking Doctor Strange. Is it?
Is that your answer?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Hulk.
Surprised you said that, John. I thought you'd have said something else, considering what Kirby said. All right, go on then, Kirby.
Wonder Woman.
She's not Marvel. Oh,
Wonder Woman.
no. Kirby, out you go.
Oh my lord.
No.
Oh,
let
my
yourself down
God.
there.
Kirby, you know what? We've now done this twice.
This is
And
bad.
John hasn't even had to flex.
No sweat.
No, see,
sweat,
the
yeah.
issue is, don't
It's
put the
like
glasses
we're
on,
doing a
John. Don't
running
put the
race.
glasses on.
It's like we're doing a running race and John's just hopping, and yet still
No,
we've
I'm
both
warming up.
fallen
So-
over like broken legs and stuff.
So the issue was, right, this time you were like, right, here's the clue, end games, to give you a chance. So what I did is I started Googling actors' names because I thought you were going to ask for their real names. So
Yeah,
then I
which I
was like,
didn't.
right, what's Robert Downey Jr. been in? And then like that sort of route. I thought you were going to throw and then you throw me that one. I'm like, probably should have just watched the film. Should have just watched the film.
Yeah.
Or any,
To be honest with you, though,
any Marvel film, Matt, any of the 20 Marvel films you could have pulled
Just-
characters from, they're in it.
if you could have just named Marvel characters, I reckon we could have got through 10 minutes before you'd have said something ridiculous like Moon Knight or something, and then you'd have been like, oh no, he's not in it yet. But there it is. Unlucky, Kirby. Sorry about that.
I feel
Thanos,
cheated.
Valkyrie.
At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Right, so shocking results there, and with that, now I'm still stunned, But it's time for the second pitch, and it's time for my movie. And again, I'm very, very confident about this. Let me introduce you to one of the greatest movie events of all time. It's Dead or Alive. Kirby.
Oh yeah.
I know you were probably shocked into awe at the magnificence of this movie, but try to tell us as much about it as you can remember.
Right, so as I can remember. So it starts basically with a lady putting a bug in a box, right? And then they start on the classic introductions, yeah. So they've got which actually I've got a few questions. We'll start off with the questions, and these are going to be points scored for you, John. 2 points for every
Me?
point.
It's not my film, it's Piers' film.
Piers.
That's fine,
looking at your
Do I
cat in
get
the
more
background.
points for my film
I
if I
think-
get these right?
I think I think you need to give John more points because obviously you're going to give Dead or Alive 100 out of 100. Obviously,
So
greatest movie. ever.
maybe we'll see. So it's got classic introductions where it starts, introducing
Yeah.
people in really stereotypical ways. But
Yeah.
there are some questions I have to ask. These are worth 2 points each for everyone you get right.
Oh
or
God,
if
pressure.
if you don't explain it well, you get
It's
2
minus
points
2.
deducted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
question 1.
yeah,
When they were introducing Tina, the pirates had guns.
yeah.
So when she first kicked and showed that they're pretty good, there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
Why didn't one of them just shoot her in the face?
Oh, obviously fear. That's what it was.
Fear.
They were, yeah. I mean, that's why they have that shot. I mean, you don't necessarily watch a lot of films, so you might have mistaken it as it being exploitative. That shot of her coming out of the sea in the bikini. Yeah, you might have thought, oh, that's gratuitous. That's a bit too much. But no, it's just showing you her musculature, showing her like peak physique, so that you could understand in a moment that the pirates obviously would have been shocked into fear, into just paralysis They couldn't even move at Tina's glory.
She did have nice pectoral muscles.
I think they were so overconfident they left their guns on the boat and thought they'd just grab her. Little did they know.
I think they had the guns. That's why I'm like, just shoot the woman. Shoot the bloody woman. Shoot!
I don't even remember the guns on the boat.
Also, I think you'll remember, Kirby, obviously, that the pirate captain, who in a masterful stroke of comedy at the beginning says, don't shoot the boat. I will shoot anyone who puts a bullet hole in the boat. Because he wanted that, because it was worth,
but not her face.
$1 million. Well, they might have hit the boat, Kirby. Also,
I reckon they would have shot in the air. Also, it'd just be like some sort of warning.
In this landmark of feminist cinema, they're just emphasizing how like men just continually underestimate what women are capable of. That's what they're doing there.
The men certainly are the goofy role in this, aren't they? It's like,
not only are they doing that, they're mocking them.
I was close to giving you a -2 there. John, anything to add?
Yeah, it's probably a +10, isn't it?
I love this scene because I think it's a nod from the director that Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil are both featured actors in this scene, which are two far better video game adaptations. I think he's a little bit of a wink there in this film, because the pirate captain is from Mortal Kombat and the captain of the boat that she's on is from Resident Evil. Kaplan, and
therefore emphasizing how Dead or Alive is clearly superior in every regard, because it requires the Dead or Alive character to solve the issue. I
don't think so.
A wonderful artistic moment from Corey Yun, the director there.
So, question 1 was -2 for Piers.
How was that -2? No way. He said don't shoot the boat.
Not the face.
I sense a conspiracy here. Go on, carry on.
So, when you mentioned Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, John, I'm like, are you now cheering on Piers's film? Like, what's your angle here, man?
Resident Evil,
anyway,
so
question 2. In Christie's intro, right?
Yes.
She's there in the tower, right? Yeah. The FBI agents come into the room. She's there. She's not bothered. She's in the tower. She's all right.
She's a strong, confident woman. Why would she be bothered?
She uses the towel to, I'm not sure if it's kill someone by flicking them. An old classic of mine, I must say.
Emphasizing how lethal she is. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's beaten up all the goons. The main FBI agent then does her bra up after she asks him to.
At her request.
Why did he do her bra up?
Because she asked him
2 points.
Again, he's in awe of her glory. Look at it. He's presented with this strong, confident, powerful woman, and like all members of the patriarchy, he's immediately just crushed into this whimpering little boy who will do anything that she asks him to. It's a wonderful feminist statement. I think it's fantastic.
Wow, John, are you hearing this?
Yeah.
I think ultimately, Kirby, if you start marking my film down anymore, you'll just reveal yourself to be sexist. That's what I think.
I think if you're marking it down on that scene, Kirby, there's not going to be any points left in the whole rest of the film.
Why do you hate women?
Might have started high. You never know.
Why do you hate women?
I just want to know. So now you're making it hard for me to do a -2 here. So the reason is he's doing up her bra is Go on. I'm sure you could have shot her.
I told you I was very serious. No, because she's already proved that she moves faster than their reflexes. How could he try and shoot her? What if he misses? She'll kill him. So she grants him a few extra seconds before she knocks him out by allowing him to do up her bra.
Shouldn't he have handcuffed her first, then done the bra up? That order.
Why would he have cuffed her?
Why would he shoot her? He's not killing her.
No, I reckon he's got a license to sort of,
Well, she has just taken out all of his men.
Yeah,
so he's going to be quite scared.
Yeah, exactly. So there you are. You've answered your own question. You know the answer. Why are you asking me? Sure. Shocking.
I'm not sure that I'll put that in the cheese category. I'm going to leave it at 0 because I feel I can't minus it and I can't plus it. I don't think it's a amazing scene. It's not like a strong, powerful woman scene
Once
where
again,
she's like, "Do you mind if you
I'm
help me?"
Shocked.
So-
Disappointed, I think is the word.
Question 3, and we're still on Christy at this point. The same scene, introduction, right?
Yeah.
She jumps on the motorbike and drives off with it.
Yeah.
Where was she keeping her keys?
Oh, the keys were already in the bike. She planned
So-
ahead for a getaway. She's a master thief. She's smarter than you or I, or indeed the script writer. So therefore, she planned ahead. She knew what was coming. She knew Max was going to screw her over.
And
What?
she left the keys in the ignition outside in a busy city.
ready to make the getaway. Yeah. 4D chess, Kirby. That's what she's playing. She's playing 4D chess.
See, now again, I'm not sure I can mark you down for that. I mean, I would expect some sort of answer based on technology. You know that it started based on fingerprints. You could have went for that, but
It's like Sherlock Holmes says: the simplest solution is normally the correct one.
-2 for Piers.
This film defies your logic.
Could have been a valet parking at the front of a hotel, and then bloke had just parked it up and hadn't picked
Yeah,
the
so
keys
the
up.
valet guy left the keys in the bloody ignition. He needs to fire him. That's
Well, there
probably
you go.
expensive.
I mean,
bike.
that's
Absolutely.
not what I said is the right answer, obviously. But I mean, that could have happened as well.
So, the fourth and final question, which is still 2 points plus or minus, depending on how you answer it. Where do these invites keep flying from?
Well, obviously, Secret Ninja throw them off screen. I mean,
Anything
that's
to add,
obvious.
John?
Yeah, I'm not sure how when they're on the middle of the South China Sea and there's no other boats around that where it's bobbing along the water from.
I mean, if you're near China, there's loads of like kung fu masters there that could easily run across the water. I've
they at
watched
this
loads
tournament?
of kung fu movies. I know they can do that.
So they're always following them.
Her being
Because
on
it got
the
to the end of the
boat
film
and
and I was
getting
still
it.
like,
Yeah, her being
They're
on the
homing.
boat and getting it is like the most obvious one, John. I think that's a weak
And they've
argument
ruined the
for
boat.
you there.
It goes into the boat as well. They've just
Well, I
ruined
mean,
that
it's not
movie.
ruined. It's just damaged that one bit. So I'm sure it's not that amazing a
Can't
boat
put a hole
anyway.
in a boat;
'cause-
it'll sink.
Well,
Yeah,
Tina's
that clown
Tina's a
pirate
very
with the
humble,
shoes.
simple girl character. She doesn't want to be too showy by having some sort of massive mega yacht. So I'm sure she won't mind too much about that. She's a very shy, very retiring girl.
Very demure.
She's
now
just
she's got a mega yacht with a hole in it.
It's not a mega yacht. It's just it's a nice,
pretty
simple
nice.
yacht for a simple country girl, and that's what Tina is.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Why is she holidaying in the South China Sea?
no,
Why
we
wouldn't
don't.
you holiday in the South China Sea? I live there. It's a wonderful place. Full
Just
of
the like trawlers
glory
going
and
by
joy.
and oil
Everyone's
tankers
here.
flying up and down.
everyone here is very happy all the time, and the sun rises here. It's great.
Right, we'll leave that there. Yeah, I'm not sure. That was another annoying bit where I'm like, it didn't explain it. Like with the Silent
So-
Hill ending, I just left going, what?
Yeah.
You know
so
what?
like 4 questions. Obviously, I just got 8 points, didn't I? Really? Can I just,
It's-
on a side note, can I just take a moment to congratulate Holly Valance, who has the most Australian sounding surname ever. Like, it's quite hard to say it without doing a rubbish Australian accent. Holly Valance.
Go on then, could you-
She sounds like
Yeah,
she's
there
got
it
a
is.
beer
There's
in
the
her hand.
accent.
You know, she sounds like she's eating shrimp and she has a beer.
Yeah,
Right, Holly.
Tina's already
Holly
always drinking
Valance.
a beer. Valance. So
Kiss, kiss.
you lost
She's
6
an all-American
points with
girl.
that questions.
Ow.
You get that?
I don't
6
even understand this
points
scoring.
down. Well, your rubbish responses led to you getting 6 points listed up, mate.
Why do you hate women, Kirby? That's what I want to know.
So, after the introductions, which they only did like, what, 3?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I thought they were going to do all of the introductions.
Well,
I thought,
Well,
Jesus Christ, we're on for
there's
a
only
long
3
one.
Charlie's Angels, aren't there? So
They do a couple more. They do a couple more later on.
Right. Yeah, and the director's cut that I didn't see, maybe. Right. So, after the intros, it then goes to them on the plane. Yeah, so they've obviously accepted the
Yeah.
introductions. Then a screen comes on. They're enjoying themselves on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
The screen comes on. it then says, like welcome for your chance to win $10 million and be crowned the ultimate fighter. But if you would like to make it there, there's a parachute under your chair. You have to leave the plane now if you want to make it to the island before sundown. Yeah. And if you don't make it before sundown, you're disqualified. So straight away, I'm thinking, this isn't even worth $10 million. Like, I think they maybe should have pegged the thing a bit higher, because $10 million and you're jumping out a plane and you're fighting like the best fighters in the world. I wouldn't bother. Keep to the 9 to 5, mate. Stay on the boat with the hole in, Well, that's what I'm thinking.
You're assuming everyone can parachute as well. And
technically everyone can.
But this is the genius of the whole thing. A lesser script would stop and think about the fact that they could make 10 million like in any kind of combat sport that's official, like within a few fights at their skill level. But that's for smaller minds. That's for lesser writers. This is a tale of gladiators. This is about people who want to go that extra mile. This is, it makes a lot more sense when you start to think it through. Why would they compete in a safe environment where they could make far more money when they could be crowned the ultimate fighter, the number one, and get 10 million? Hooray. I mean, what I like about that particularly is that it's obviously not a scam when they set off. And it's refreshing that none of them are cynical enough that they would notice the obvious scam when they get on the plane. And I for one want to congratulate the screenwriter for that, because it's brave. It's brave is what it is. Brave. So they're striding to like break new ground in cinematic history, and I think they achieved it.
Right. So I won't be changing the score based on that bit of biased information.
So biased. That's what you are. Yeah, clearly. Shocking.
It does the bit. They open the door. It's then depressurized. Yada yada yada. It then cuts to the scene where the Charlie's Angels, Tina, Kasumi, and what's her name, Christy. They land a little bit off, so they've got a bit of a journey ahead of them to make it to the area before sundown, right? So they walk on the beach. There's then like this huge bit of scaffolding that they have to climb. And so they're like, we've got to work together. And this is another really cheesy bit. Cheesy can be good or bad. But this is cheesy, right?
I don't know why you'd think this film's cheesy, but okay.
Yeah. So they have to work together to climb the scaffolding, yeah? I
won't bore you with the details. It's like a wooden spiral staircase in the shape of a square. But yeah, okay.
Scaffolding. Put a picture on, please, on the screen to show the scaffolding.
Okay.
And
I think I should double down now, just so that if I'm wrong, I look like a complete idiot. You're stupid,
ridiculous.
Kirby. Stupid. Scaffolding. Is that what you think it is? Numbskull. There we go. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll look glorious.
Yeah.
Right, carry on.
So I won't bore you with the journey details, but at one point, Kasumi grabs hold of Tina's jeans, pulls them down a little bit, so you get a bit of ass crack, right? Yeah. So they then
get
the that's the whole purpose of the journey. Yeah. So they get to the journey, get to the journey's end.
The showing Tina's ass crack is the whole purpose of the journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that they're stronger.
No, I'd
together.
agree with that. And I'll explain why I agree with that later. But carry on.
We'll come back to that then.
I don't want to use up all my 3 points before we actually get to my part, which I'm very, very close to doing. So carry on.
So they get to the top. There's a lady on roller skates, which I don't remember from the game. Who was she? Because I used to play Dead or Alive quite a bit, and I don't remember that one. I think she is in it. I think she's in like a second one or a third one. She is definitely in Extreme Beach Volleyball, which I have not played ever. Yeah, sure. I bet you cracked some hours on that bad boy, haven't you?
Checking the muscles
again, sir. So
there's a funny story actually as to how I have played that game. I mean, I've never played that game. Never. Why would I?
Sure. Look at the face. So, yeah, we see the lady on the roller skates. I'm like, she's not in the game. She is not in it. Although I haven't played Silent Hill, I played Dead or Alive. I put a lot of hours into that game, and I've never seen that one. So, and that was on the Sega Dreamcast, I believe.
We'll check you out with your gaming knowledge. There we go. We found your YouTube channel for you, Kirby.
There's my niche. Shader.
3 hours on Twitch a day. Off you go.
Yeah. How do you work this damn Twitch thing? Yeah, so it gets there. She's like, come in, welcome. They've literally just made it in time, so they haven't been disqualified. So they've still got the chance to win the $10 million.
Yeah.
And then it comes to the bit where you get introduced to the event organizer. And here's the real shocker. You see him, and I'm like, John Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi is the event organizer. I'm like, that is ridiculous.
That's
how
terrible.
The hell?
How dare you insult him? His mullet is far more majestic than Bon Jovi's ever was.
Whoa.
Feathered and layered. You just don't see that these days. You just don't. It's a majestic
but this
moment.
Isn't that old a film. What's with the Bon Jovi look?
No, but I'll tell you what. There's two types of man that I really respect. A man with a good beard and a man with a strong mullet. Those are the kind of guys that you look at them and you go, give that man a beer and some barbecue and he'll get stuff done. That's it. And so when I saw Eric Roberts standing there with possibly the greatest mullet of his career, may I say, the greatest mullet, I was like, this is fantastic. I hope he's not the bad guy, because if he is, with that kind of hair, they'll never be able to defeat him.
So you're out of luck. He's the bad guy, basically. And I'm going to just skip to the summary, the ending. So I've got some points. Now, I do like the fact that it's kept it in line with the game, where it's like really stereotype heavy, you know, and like the fight scene areas are quite different, you know, but like everyone is massive stereotype. You've got Tina and her dad. Like,
it's a celebration of cultural differences is what that is. Like, some would say that it's lazy stereotyping, but not me. I would say that's a celebration of the cultural differences that really bond in our world. And, you know, when they're all working together like this, you get something great like the movie. That's a lesson for modern day culture, that is. We need to come together.
So there's something that I didn't like about it, is that it was so damn cheesy. Like, Jesus Christ, Piers.
Don't know what you're talking about.
What? I can't think of a cheesier film that I've seen in the last 5 years. Like, can you?
What was cheesy?
Name me a cheesy film. The damn cheese. Like,
I can't think of anything. But I can think of cheesy, you know, but that's not cheesy. I don't understand.
Give us a cheesy film, please, Piers.
You know what? Right. So just, you know, to peel back the curtain for a second, behind you, there is a wall of DVDs and Blu-rays, right? The problem is, though, that when I was younger, I hated cheesy films. There we go. Commando. That's a cheesy movie.
Yeah.
You know, I said I'd kill you last. Yeah, you did, Maverick. I lied. That's cheese. I can't like give Commando you that. When I was little, I always loved Predator and hated Commando. It was only when I hit my 40s that I actually suddenly realized that Commando was actually kind of cool. Predator's still better, but Commando was kind of cool.
So Commando, or
that's a cheesy.
You can't name a cheesy film,
can
you?
Cheesy, this is like a celebration of life. This is just a wonderful, wonderful moment. I don't understand what you're saying, really.
Another point, which I'm not sure is a positive or a minus, maybe we'll have to work that out, is the cameraman is such a damn perv. My God, man. Like,
the crotch camera
every shot.
I think normally when I hear people saying things like that, it normally reveals something about the person saying it rather than the thing that's actually happened. I feel like you're possibly projecting, Kirby. And, you know, as I said, in a minute, I'll explain why that is. But, you know.
So the cameraman either got fired or promoted. That is a fact.
Promoted, definitely. Probably had a strong directorial career afterwards, I'd imagine.
Do you think that cameraman was like, boss, my camera is stuck at this level. I can't get it any higher. No, don't worry about that. It's super glued in place at that mid-waist level.
I think after they'd done those scenes a few times, the camera had got stuck for some reason or another. Some sort of, you know, you know, some sort of lack of lubrication.
But I never
up
saw a
somehow.
close up of Jax's groin. I feel that must have been in the director's cut. Tina's,
You got him
what's her
jumping
name?
out
Bass?
the
Hang on,
water
hang on.
naked. You
Hang
got
on,
a
who's
naked shot. Of the guy.
sorry, who's groin?
What's his name? Jax? Green hair?
Oh yeah,
Don't
no,
worry.
you see his Zach. You see his penis at one point
Yeah,
when he
jumps
gets out of
hot
the
tub.
bath. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was
Yeah,
no
there's
close up
full
of
dom
it.
there.
If I had a close up,
You wanted close up.
Why?
Yeah, I
why
would
are
redeem
you
the
so
cameraman.
concerned with just objectifying people, Kirby? That's what I don't.
I'm just saying that camera was very booty height for those ladies, but then when it come out to the men, it was like zoomed out. So I'm telling you, the cameraman.
I think men have
He
had enough
enjoyed
of
his
the
job, I
spotlight,
think.
Kirby. I think it's time for women to shine now.
So, women to shine. This was a failed attempt at a female power role. Like, they're clearly trying to do it where it's got. But one thing it didn't have, which normally the female power sort of old school films has, was the groin punch. I was waiting for the groin punch. I don't think I saw it. I saw a gun pointed at the groin, but I never saw a groin punch, which Mortal Kombat does.
Well, also Harley Quinn is a big fan of that in the most recent films.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey was a big one for women are powerful because they can kick men in the nuts. But you know,
Yeah. So I was
this film is
expecting
far
that.
elevated from those mediocre films.
So, but when you talk storyline as well, there's you've got the comedy villain. You've got Bon Jovi.
Well,
like,
we've got
Donovan.
We've got some real strides forward in comedy during this movie, right? I'm sure you'll have noticed. I'm sure that's what you're talking about. Well, for example, you know, all of the bits featuring Max and his slapstick, you know, it's like it's hearkening back to, you know, decades beforehand when that was actually funny, but it's refreshing it for the modern audience. And I think, again, like I said earlier, scriptwriter, brave. One word, brave, Kirby. The other one,
Cameraman
you'll have
brave, more
noticed
like.
the wonderfully sensitive lesbian jokes.
Dad, not now. I'm in my underwear.
Which I hate. Just like me, I'll never know.
It seems to be like my baby girl spotted herself a special friend. Let's settle up here, sweetie. Nice to meet you, miss.
Oh, it's Christy.
Which were very, very aware of like social like systems.
What,
and,
with
like
with the dad in the room?
Yeah. I mean, again, you might have seen that as like a poor joke that would have been slightly tasteless back in the 70s. But no, again, brave. And that's the word I really want you to keep coming back to. Brave, making anew, taking things that would have been tasteless in another era. But now we're enlightened enough to see that actually there is humor in two girls liking each other. It's very funny.
So, with the dad walking in and still not being that faced. Yeah. So, I don't get why Bon Jovi was being a douche. Like, what? You need a reason why he's the villain.
What was the story, Matt? What was the whole reason behind it?
So you got the event, right? Shut up.
It's a nice homage, John. I like that. Like it a lot. Yeah. I mean, you do look a bit like Resident Evil rather than d.o.a. But, you know, I like it. It's a nice touch. I feel like that's you realizing that you've lost already and just hailing my film.
Hiding behind your glasses as opposed to going into boss mode. So, yeah, the 2 points that I want to ask you. Actually, no, let's make these. There's 1 point each up for grabs on these answers. Why was Bon Jovi being such a douche? What was his end game? What did he want?
He wanted to be the supreme fighter so that he could sell the program to villainous people all around the world and make lots of money.
What?
Well, they can create their own super soldiers. You've seen Marvel movies. Super soldiers
all wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Based on your cinema repress. God.
Nicely done, Kirby. Right. That's
that was amazing. Yeah, so there's your answer, is it? That he wants to sell it. I can give
what he wants to do.
I'll give you a plus point for that.
That's literally what he wants to do. Because then Weatherby, who again, I'll talk about him later, but Weatherby
like
stopped the
Chasing
transfer
Amy.
of the files.
Right.
But they don't have the technology of the sunglasses. They just get the file upload. What do they do with it? Stick it in USB sticks?
Well, no, they
haven't got sunglasses,
I
have they?
presume the blueprints of the
sunglasses.
sunglasses were in the file, obviously.
So all your super soldiers in the future have to wear sunglasses.
Yes.
You just turn the lights off. You turn the lights off and they're done for, aren't they? What it felt to me like it was they weren't like they weren't super armies, these guys buying them. They looked like they were sort of military like underworld criminals that wanted to be able to kick people's asses.
Yeah.
What are they spending millions on this? That ability that a locked door could defeat them?
Well, no,
they want to break into a bank vault.
Spend...
Oh, I can't do it. A guy with a gun can shoot them and kill them. What use is this martial arts thing?
If guns could have killed them, then Christy would have been killed in the first scene, wouldn't she?
Tina on boat as well, please.
Or you notice every guard on this island hasn't got a gun
that's because weapons aren't allowed. John. Weapons aren't allowed. They've
got swords. They've got samurai swords.
That's not really a weapon, though, is it? Come on, the sword. It's
Sumi
more decorative than anything else.
Acupuncture. Acupuncture was more lethal.
Yeah, that's after the tournament has finished. Acupuncture is a well-known Eastern form of medicine that works really well. Is well known to work perfectly. It's not just a crock of BS. It's absolutely fantastic.
The acupuncture did what you said in the last podcast about showing the weapon at the beginning to be used at the end. Because in the really good Kasumi flashback where she was just an innocent girl tied up by these thugs, and the guy came, her brother came, Hayatu, came and defeated them all with the acupuncture, then allowed us to have the Donovan death at the end where he gets stuck in the back of the neck.
Again,
the only reason
a genius stroke from the writer there, because traditionally when you're doing that, and it's traditionally seen as a good thing, you'd put that right at the beginning of the film, so then it would pay off at the end. But they defied convention with this movie.
Yeah, and the first third maybe of that film.
Well, I would have.
Do I believe that Kasumi,
film,
who can defeat hundreds of people at a time, can be tied up by 5 guys? Do I really believe
she can run the same speed as the sword that
I think the suggestion was that after that, she had then dedicated herself to training to fight.
There was only a year's different. He was just about Hayatu was just about in a year. She
didn't take weekends off.
I think, yeah.
Or she'd been training her whole life.
She didn't take weekends off.
So my last point
with the right. Also, a lifetime of watching kung fu movies has taught me that with the right sensei or sifu, if you're in China, then you can learn how to defeat that invincible master within maybe a couple of weeks.
You go on
many of
the focused
Shaw Brothers movies from the 70s are particularly good at that. I almost got murdered by this invincible guy who can kill anyone. I'll go training for 5 minutes and then I'll beat him. This is well accepted. You yourself have done Taekwondo. You must understand more than Kirby or I, that with only a couple of weeks training, you could go back and be world champion. So there you go.
Maybe.
So if I start training now, by the next podcast,
absolutely,
I'll give you a Chinese burn or something. Don't worry.
Well, I mean, okay. Over here, of course, they're just called friction burns.
Friction burns.
Well, because I'm in China, so
Also, remember that these can be knocked off. You knock these off, you're done for. He didn't even have little hooks around. He didn't have a strap. If he did have a strap around the back of his glasses, he would have been all right.
Again, brilliant script writing, showing the hubris of the bad guy, the ego, that he was so consumed with his own idea of what he was going to do. He hadn't seen an obvious flaw that was immediately exploited by our band of worthy heroes.
To me, Bon Jovi kind of reminded me of like when Donald Trump first went for president. You're like, why is he doing that? What purpose? Like, firstly, have you seen his wife? Why does he want to work more? And like, just what's he there to gain? Like, I don't just going to be just
Well, I
hassle.
mean, it wasn't
you know?
the first time that he'd run for presidency either. So it's like notoriety, it's raising his name, and it's like, you know, his name is his brand, or at least it was. I don't think it'll work quite so well now.
Piers, can you describe what exactly the sunglasses do? Because I was getting mixed messages.
Well, I mean, John, clearly you weren't paying attention because this is very obvious. It's very
I was
clear.
getting a little bit confused.
Well, you see at the end that Kasumi's brother is
Hayatu.
Yes, obviously, you know, I just wanted to give you the chance to demonstrate that you remembered his name. Obviously, I did too. How could I have forgotten it? He's like the ultimate fighter. He's like, you know, Eric Roberts, even with his majestic mullet, was not able to defeat him. Probably the biggest stretch of reality in the whole film. But with the sunglasses, they played through the combat beforehand so that he knew what to look out for. They're like the ultimate information resource.
So it's a preview. You're getting a preview of what exactly he's going to do.
Well, yes, but I think streamed in real time, probably in 4K as well.
And being an overweight 60-year-old mullet-wearing non-martial artist, let you then counter punch him and beat him up.
In all seriousness, I don't think you can say Eric Roberts is overweight in this movie. He might be carrying a little timber, but you know,
it must be January.
I don't know how it made him physically better himself.
Well, I mean, obviously he was already very well trained, wasn't he?
Was he? Okay.
Yes.
But the obvious flaw is it only works against people that you've downloaded the nanobots against. In which case, Helena, she said to him, "Oh, you didn't download mine." So the guys that they're uploading all that data to around the world are only actually going to be able to fight those 5 people that they've uploaded the nanobots from. If they fight anybody else, they can't do it.
Well, again, like I said before, that's the genius of the script, demonstrating the hubris and the ego of the bad guy who's not seen the obvious flaw in his plan, which then allows our heroes to demonstrate their superior teamwork, camaraderie, and humble natures, because they are all very humble, shy, retiring people. You'll notice that they immediately assess the problem with his plan. I mean, that's like real life, isn't it? Evil people never succeed because they're always consumed by their own ego, right?
But the people buying this product, wouldn't they have been like, so what does this actually do?
Well, no, because they're bad guys as well. So they
just are clueless.
They just don't notice it either because they're too bad. They're too evil.
So, on that, I have made my scores. And I would like to say, who wants to see their score first or hear their score?
No.
He gets his 3 things. Piers gets his 3.
Son.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, I'll take these up for points.
I'm not having this hatchet job done on the greatest movie ever made, and then you thinking you can just pass it on. Now let me tell you, gentlemen, take you on a journey, if you will, through a glorious history of martial arts cinema, culminating in a film so great that the director of it, who had been directing for 30 years before that, never, ever worked in cinema in any form ever again afterwards. Clearly, he realized that he had reached his pinnacle. Absolutely. And could never achieve something that great. Having created that ultimate piece of art, he could never, ever even strive. He couldn't bring himself to carry on. Right, let's start with the thing that we all noticed the moment we started watching this, and that's feminism. I'm sure all 3 of us are staunch feminists here, and I'm just going to say that those opening scenes, as Kirby pointed out, a lesser film would be deliberately exploitational. You know, we'd have the shower scene, we'd have the butt shot, we'd have the coming out of the water in the bikini. And yes, we have all of those things in this movie, but here it works as lifting up the women involved. It's not being deliberately exploitative. Instead, it asks the questions, why are you watching this film? What are you doing? Who are you? The camera angles are very cleverly chosen. I particularly like the artistic way that Christy is attacking with the towel, and yet the towel just covers her nipples every time. Also, look at the way that they allowed her to put her panties back on under her towel beforehand. Now, you might say to me, and I can see both of you are about to jump in and say, but why didn't the screenwriter just make her excuse herself into a side room to get dressed, playing on the men being slightly embarrassed by the fact that she's naked, and then have her just jump out of the window? And yes, that would have been an obvious thing to do, but that's the problem with it, isn't it? It's obvious when we could take this opportunity to celebrate female sexuality. And I think that's what this film really achieves really well. I mean, let's look at the physical on the island again. The girls are all in skin-tight bikinis. Some of them, yes, little shorts, okay. But you'll notice that the men, they didn't make the obvious thing of putting them in budgie smugglers or Speedos. No, they allowed them loose shorts so that we understand that this film is not about the men. It's not about them. It's a celebration of the female strength, female glory. It's lifting up women in every way. Particularly, actually, if we need it, you talked about them going up the scaffolding. That's obviously actually just a stairway and not scaffolding, right? What do they do every time that they do anything in that scene? They grunt in what could be construed as a slightly sexual way. Now, a misogynist watching that would be slightly uncomfortable, perhaps, slightly afraid of the strong, open female sexuality, but not any of us, I'm sure. I'm sure we understood what it was and why they were doing it. Whilst we're talking about that, let's move on to the production, which is, of course, absolutely top-notch throughout. This is a brave, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, brave film. They never take the easy way out. I mean, look at Kevin Nash, for example. Very famous wrestler, both in the WWE as Diesel, and then he went to become Kevin Nash, uniquely titled, in WCW, right? Well, if you're going to hire someone who's obviously doing a piss take of Hulk Hogan, some would say maybe getting the wrestler to do that would be too obvious. But I say, let's do the obvious thing. Let's take that chance with the script. I've already told you a few times when it's very, very clever that they do the thing that you think is obvious and they give it to you. They give it to you. This film's all about giving, right? Let's look again. Let's take right at the beginning. Let's take Kasumi. She's a princess, yes, in Japan, right? Obviously, therefore, she uses Chinese kung fu when she's fighting. See, culturally sensitive, very aware of the merging of cultures, all the people of the world's coming together, holding hands. But again, she's about to leave. And what do they say? If you leave the palace, the guards will kill you. Immediately, that makes complete sense. We can all understand why that would happen. You know, I mean, you don't want her going off and making like trade deals with other nations or, you know, brokering peace treaties or anything silly like that. No, you want her to stay in the palace and keep quiet. So that's what she does. She breaks out from that. She says, no, I will not be contained. I will not be a bird in a cage. I will run free. And the first thing she does to demonstrate that is rip off all of her clothes and just have a very skimpy, tight outfit underneath. Yes. Why? Again, celebrating female sexuality. Kirby, you mentioned the continual shots of the women's bodies. You didn't mention when they're doing flips. You didn't mention that when they're doing backflips, there's always a camera at the top shot straight at their vagina. Why? Celebration of women. That's what it is. Strong vagina. I'm sure we've all seen the vagina monologues. Glorious piece of theatre. Well, here we have the computer game version of that. Let's talk again about the performances, the delivery of dialogue. So strong, so brave, so amazing. The Academy were afraid to recognize it. They were afraid. And that's why they continually refuse to give awards to horror films, sci-fi films, but particularly computer game films, because they know the quality. They know if they start giving awards to those films, they'll never be able to stop. Right. And that brings us on to my third point. This film is a celebration of gaming. It's a celebration. Look at it. It's bright. It's colorful. Silent Hill, it's all boring. It's all gray or brown. You know, it's just dull. It's boring. Nobody cares about what's going on. This film, it's bright, colorful, joyful. It's I've never played the game, but I could tell very clearly that it's incredibly faithful to the source material. I'm sure they didn't throw in any random characters or anything else like that. I mean, look, they had health bars during the fight scenes. That's how faithful to the game these are. They had the volleyball sequence, a little dock of the cap, if you will, to the wonderful, wonderful Extreme Beach volleyball games that Dead or Alive are famous for. Another stunning example of feminism in action. And finally, the greatest moment is that this film has tremendous respect for its fan base. Look at the computer geek character. He's not a simpering, little, ineffectual, weak man who is just completely ashamed of himself, embarrassed, shy, socially awkward, because that would be the obvious thing. Look at him. He gets the girl. He saves the day. You know, this film loves its fan base. They love them. They love them. There's not a whole load of dude bros in the back just going, nerds. No. That would be a lesser film. That'd be a lesser film. And this is d.o.a. This is a statement in the landscape of cinema. This is probably the greatest movie of all time, and certainly a better film than Silent Hill. I rest my case. I will accept my win. Thank you.
You should be a politician, man. That was good. But, so, are we ready for scores, gentlemen?
Right. So with all of that being said, it's time for the judging. Now that both pitches are complete, it's time for Kirby to tell me that I have clearly won the day. So, which is the better movie game film? Which is the better computer game movie? Kirby.
So, I will start with Silent Hill. And I first of all rated it out of 100. I gave it 90 out of 100.
90?
90?
Yeah.
90?
Right.
Wow.
I really enjoyed like how creepy it was, you know, just like so many times you're like, oh, this is, oh God, you know, like there's something like that someone enjoys through like sort of watching just like, you know, it's that horror sort of aspect of it, isn't it? Where you're like, whoa, Jesus Christ. You know, like you imagine yourself in that scenario. And like, again, that was kind of why I wanted to know where the ending was, because you just don't know where, like, does the person realize that they're going to be in that place forever? You know, like there's that sort of thing where you, although you're kind of like, that's a minus, but then when you think of it from a horror perspective, you're like, that's kind of adds to the horror, you know, the unknown, which is kind of what horror do, don't they? You know, it gives you the unknown and puts you in your face, and like, how would you deal with it in that sort of sense? So I gave you an extra 2 points for the way that you actually explained the finale. So you've actually got a 92 final score.
Ooh.
And
Shocking.
Dead or Alive,
Shocking.
coming close. Yes. It had Piers got -6 points for his explanations, and he ended up the score.
92, obviously.
No, so you got -6 and then a +1. They're your things. I actually forget what the +1 was for, but it's down here. So I really should put a little note next to it. And you've got 55 out of 100.
What? It's disgusting. That's appalling.
So Silent Hill 92, Dead or Alive 55.
That's terrible.
Any final words?
Well, I mean, you know, obviously now you've revealed yourself as a misogynist. I just don't understand why you hate. Feminism makes life better for all of us, and Dead or Alive just really wanted to champion that, and I don't understand why you've turned your back on it in that way. But you know,
it'd be interesting to find
the judging
like,
is what it is.
You know, like sort of the with the camera angles and stuff like that, what the reviews said about, you know, because I haven't actually read like a proper review, you know, like
Probably not.
what they're sort of saying.
Go on Rotten Tomatoes. They are entertaining reading.
Really?
Some people got quite creative with how much they were prepared to crap on. The only real bad comment for Silent Hill that you'll find on Rotten Tomatoes is like the Empire review where they said what I just said. It turns out watching someone solve clues and run around a town is less entertaining than playing as someone solving clues and running around town.
Yeah.
The Dead or Alive retains its title as the most misunderstood movie of all time.
So I remember now
that.
What I gave you the plus 1.4. It was because how close, like how much it sort of gives a good nod to the actual computer game, you know, because the computer game is full on stereotypes, like Street Fighter and stuff.
What would it be?
Yeah. So that gave you 1 point extra.
Like I said, they obviously loved their fan base. I mean, the flippant tone of the whole film where, you know, like you say cheesy, I say gritty and determined.
Deep.
It shows that they really understood and loved the game. They didn't think it was some ridiculous thing that they were just getting paid to do, which was refreshing because that would have been awful if they'd just been like that. So, but you know, you're biased, Kirby, so that's fair enough. We know now that John clearly has paid you off. You said last
I didn't win last week, did I?
You said last episode that you were prepared to accept bribery. John's obviously got in there during the week.
Yeah, for 1 week only, Kirby.
I can't just drive around your house and slip an envelope under the door like John has. But you know,
cheers for that, John.
There'll come a time after August when I'm back, and you know, I'll
slip in envelopes.
Yeah, I will be. There'll be
slipping some in.
Actually, no. You know what? You know what? This is a moral victory because obviously, but the margin of victory shows a complete hatchet job by the both of you. Very upset. I'm not going to take this like lying down. I'm not going to try and be the better person. I'm not happy. It's clearly ridiculous.
I think it would have been interesting if we'd compared Silent Hill to Resident Evil and Dead or Alive to Street Fighter. So, like, matched the two, maybe in the future.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't have cheered for Resident Evil. You'd have had to have done that. I'd have had to have had Silent Hill. I can't bring myself.
I could have cheered for Resident Evil.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But if you'd gone Resident Evil, I would have gone Super Mario Brothers. So, you know, and again, obviously would have won. But, you know.
Super Mario Brothers is a great film.
The second greatest film of all time. The second most misunderstood movie of all time, certainly.
Exactly.
Again,
absolutely.
It's hard for artists who are just not understood in their time. Anyway, and that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next time on Popcorn Dreams.